welcome back to my channel. This is the video that we all love talking about. It is curriculum choices. This is going to be specifically our family school. So the subjects are history, science, and then like morning school topics. I don't know, just some other few things that we do together every morning when we have family school. So I'll talk about the subjects. I'll talk a little bit about how I run it and all those kind of goodies. So if you're interested, let's go ahead and get started. A quick background, if you're new, my name is Kaylin and I homeschool my 3 kids. So we have a 6th grader, 3rd grader, and a 1st grader this year. And we've been homeschooling from the beginning of our schooling aged kids. So we're at about 8 years now. And this year I have, kind of similar to a few other years, we've been doing it for a few years now, where I divide up our school day into 3 sections. And we have morning school, then we have family school, and then we have like grade level work after that. So this video is just family school, what we do together as a family. This portion of our school day takes typically about an hour and a half, maybe, more or less. So our full school day should take about 2.5 hours. This particular portion takes about an hour and a half of that. So we're just gonna run through what I've picked. Most of this stuff we've done, well, with the exception of science, but overall, it's what we are doing all year round. Science and history, obviously, we kind of like move through the years. So it's a little bit different from what we did at the beginning of the year. So from September through December, this is just what we're going to be doing from January through about May or so. Okay. So first and foremost, lots of times people ask about my planner. I will talk about it many, many times throughout the school year because this is how I organize what we're doing week to week to week. So I will share with you more specifically about how I plan our school days, but this is the one that I have for this year. It's just like a flat layout plan. And this is the family school column you can see right here. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about some stuff that we're going to be doing during this time, my history and my science. Okay. So this is kind of how I plan it. This is available on my Teachers Pay Teachers website. I will put a link in the description box below, but I call it like the last planner you'll ever have to buy because I update it every year and because I physically use it myself. So whatever I change because I feel like, oh, I want to add this or I want to change the colors or something like that, then I make it available as just like an update for those who have already purchased it. So it's a really great investment, of course. I really love it. So shameless plug, Teachers Pay Teachers. My shop is Kaylin Morrell. I'll put a link in the description box below. This upcoming year, I'm going to add some unit study organization pages because I feel like we need them in our lives. So that'll be coming up in future editions, which I usually update them in May. Okay, or in April rather. That was a little bit of a tangent. So let's get started. Let's do, the way that I have these stacked is I have history first. So let's talk about history. This year, we are learning about American history again. I have had a comment or two where it has been asked, do you teach anything besides American history? And the answer is yes, of course we do. However, it's kind of, it was like a while ago, so it's going to be in like really of my early videos of YouTube, and I had one really young student. So it may have just been, something really simple. Number 2, we do have a co-op that my kids attend, and they have, like civilization, like ancient civilizations and citizenship and different things like that kind of as a part of those. I won't really hit world history until probably 10th grade for my particular curriculum, like how I build my courses out. So if you're wondering, do I ever teach anything besides American history? Primarily the answer is no. Right now, I teach about how other cultures and regions have helped build America and what we experience today. But as far as history of France, we're not going to get into that until he's probably in 10th grade. So, okay, so this is what we're doing for our second term. We're still trying to get through the history of America. So this year we started, I think, with exploration. It may have been colonization. No, actually, I think I did that last year because I remember it took us all year to do colonial America. So what did we start with? Anyway, whatever we started with, blah, blah, blah. We plodded along. This year we're going to finish the Civil War. Then we're going to do expansionism. No. Then we're going to do Reconstruction and then expansionism or moving west. Okay. Chronologically, that's not perfect, but I built my curriculum out with using this as a framework. This is a really expensive book to purchase for a framework of building your own curriculum. I would not recommend going this direction. In fact, if I could go back and talk to myself again, I wouldn't do it this way. But with that being said, I have extensive experience in building out curriculum for history specifically. So using this book feels a little bit too much for me. And so consequently, I haven't used it a lot. However, it did help me build out which topic was going to go for which. So again, this is from BJU Press. This is grade 4 teacher edition. I have no grade 4 children. But I purchased this because it covered the timeline that we were doing for this year. So that's why I picked this. Again, it just kind of goes through the chapters. So we talked about rebuilding the nation. Oh no, we didn't start there, but you'll see Civil War is like up here, and then it's rebuilding the nation, the Wild West, busy cities, all that glitter. So this is kind of how we're moving along. But it took me so long to get through like the birth of it. Oh, we did Revolutionary War. That's what we did at the beginning of the year. Revolutionary War, birth of the nation, the building of our government. What is our government? Like all that kind of stuff is what I did before. Then we did Civil War. So they did actually include those types of chapters in this book. They just didn't go into very much detail. Like, this is 2 chapters that's like America Grows, Growth of Democracy, right? So that's why I just decided to expand those chapters. What did I use to do that? I did use this as a base, but I kind of looked on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is a backstory. I shouldn't be putting this in this particular video, but anyway, I built out the curriculum and now we're going to be moving into Civil War. Okay, so for Civil War, I used history pockets. I love Evan Moore and their pockets. They have history pockets and they have literature pockets. This particular one is the history pocket for the Civil War. And essentially what it does is it breaks down the event into 6 sections. Each of those sections, they create like these little handout type cards that you can build upon or take away from as much as you want. And then you slide those into the pocket to help you like keep it as like a little keepsake. So let me show you what my son has built so that you can get an idea. So this is his thing. Okay, number 1. When you go to buy or do these either they're history pockets or literature pockets, the instructions tell you to buy a large piece of construction paper. You can kind of see this girl is holding it. I've done it this way. It's a really huge piece of paper. I can't even remember like how big it's supposed to be, but it says in the instructions in front, 12 by 18 sheet of construction paper. Okay. You can do it that way. It's really inexpensive. I have just found that to be a storage nightmare because it just is so big. And it turns out to be like a 12 by 12 piece of construction paper by the time that you go to put all of your stuff in it. And then you want to slide it into some kind of folder. It's too big. It's just a nightmare. So 2 years ago, I think it is, I decided to put them into a medical file folder. I buy the ones that have 3 inserts, like 3 folder inserts, so that I can have 6 pockets. This one has 7. Some of them may have 8. You can see the numbers right here. You can see how many pockets it'll make. So you can just kind of pick and choose the ones that you want. If you have a younger student and you want to do just 2 or 3 pockets, right? So then you would just buy a medical file folder that only has 1 insert or 2 inserts or what have you, okay? That is my biggest tip for these history pockets or literature pockets. It saves everything. And this storage situation is a dream. It's way, way, way better. Okay. So you print off the front. That's super easy. Then on all of these, you're going to just copy it out. So obviously I have some in here that like we didn't end up doing, but if you turn to like the first pocket, this is how it's printed in the book. So this is your pocket title. And then they have like some quick tips that you can use to like introduce the subject area. So if you use a medical file folder, which you are going to use because that like construction paper situation is going to give you a nightmare. When you copy it, make sure that you reduce the size to like 92%, 87%. You'll kind of want to fiddle around. I wish I could give you the exact number, but every time I do it, I forget. But you're going to want to reduce the size. That way it's going to fit on these pockets. The same when you go to copy all of their little cute things, just reduce the size like 10% or so. And then it'll fit in this size a lot easier because this won't fit a full piece of paper after you like tape that pocket on there. Okay. So that's like a long explanation, but it will literally save your life if you choose to use any of these books. And there are so many of them. I've talked about it multiple times in my channel. Okay, so we are talking about the Civil War, the introduction. We already have done a couple of pockets here. Side note, this is just a piece of like heavy construction paper. So it's cardstock is what it's called. And then I just used packing tape and I taped it along the edges. So that's how I made this into a pocket, okay? We talked about slavery. We talked about the leaders. And now here we are moving on to whatever this pocket is, okay? So we are going to do, I've got 3 more pockets to do for the Civil War, and then we're going to wrap that learning up. I think we're talking about major battles, a soldier's life, and then I don't know after that which one I decided to do. But anyway, maybe we'll stop on those 2. So I have those 2. Then when we finish that, we're going to do Reconstruction, and I'm going to use the big curriculum book to build out my Reconstruction unit. I haven't looked into that yet, and I haven't built it out, so stay tuned. And as we get to our Homeschool Life update, a series, I will fill you in on how I choose to build that and what I use to supplement it and all that kind of stuff. But the Reconstruction is chapter 1, I'm pretty sure, of this curriculum. I'm looking back to see because now I can't even remember. Oh gosh. Yeah, it is chapter 2 is rebuilding the nation. So, except it starts on page 52. So that's pretty amazing. But I will say this about using this curriculum since I'm going to be using it. I do not have the actual textbook, the student book. Maybe I do actually. Anyway, that goes along with this. But this does have the student text. You can kind of see it has the student text printed in the manual. So I can have my kids read this with me if we're just looking for straight up content that we can read as background. This also gives lots of like ideas of how to teach it. I basically read through, the lesson, the chapter, what have you, and then I go to Teachers Pay Teachers and see if I can find like a bulletin board background that we can use to supplement it. Maybe some kind of printables or a lap book or I don't know, like pinwheels, whatever I can find. So stay tuned. I'll let you know when I find it. And then the last thing that hopefully we'll be able to get to this year is going to be moving west. So we have the cover. This is History Pockets, Moving West, obviously. This one has 10 pockets and my medical folders only can hold 6. So I'm going to just pick and choose which one I want. We'll head up to a field trip. We live in Utah, so our state was settled by moving west, obviously. So there's a lot of pioneer museums and covered wagons or hand carts or that kind of stuff. We are very pioneer heavy here in the state of Utah. So we've got lots of opportunities to go and see and experience when we learn about moving west. So that'll be kind of a fun unit to finish off on. And then depending on where we land in the year, I mean, I'm not going to get overexcited that maybe we'll finish super early enough to fit in one more unit, but if we do, then I'll throw in one more kind of chunk of time, which I believe is the Industrial Revolution, maybe? I can't remember, honestly. So anyway, okay, so that is history. That was kind of lengthy. So moving on to science. I'll try not to make the rest of this as lengthy. So for science this year, we are going to be doing space. And not necessarily like NASA space, although that will be a part of it, and like rocket ships and blah, 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 but more just like the universe and stars and constellations and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the book that I have decided to use to build out my curriculum. And I have tried The Good and the Beautiful so many times. I want to love them so much. I have also looked at a few other publishers, Gather Around Homeschool being one of them, just looking for something that I can use. And I'm attracted to them because they are beautiful curriculum, but my hesitation or my kind of like hiccup with those types of curriculums is that there is so much reading. It's very teacher heavy in reading, and I lose interest, my kids lose interest, and just like me creating like verbal diarrhea to my kids, excuse the expression, doesn't capture their attention the way that I want it to. I want it to be interesting and fun and short over the course of many days, as opposed to sitting and reading word after word after word, followed by 4 questions or something. So I decided to get this book. This is by Edufun. Like, I don't know who makes this. I just found it on Amazon, and they have like 2 or 3 subject areas, one of which was the human body. I wish I had done the human body with these people instead of The Good and the Beautiful. And I will talk about that, but in another video. So anyway, this is what I'm going to do. And I am going to just build the curriculum myself. I know that may sound scary and intimidating, but when you've been around the curriculum world long enough, then you just figure it out. So I do it a lot with the help of Teachers Pay Teachers and YouTube videos and Pinterest ideas for like science projects or printables or all that kind of stuff. Okay. So I'm showing you the table of contents. I know you can't read this, but essentially this is how I'm like breaking down the days, is like, we're going to talk about what is the universe, and then the Big Bang Theory versus creation. Like, let's understand the 2 concepts. And then we'll just talk about like, what are galaxies? What's the Milky Way? And then here's stars, sun. What is this? Nebulous? I'm reading it backwards, and maybe you are too. Anyway, Mercury, Venus, Earth. All right. So you kind of get it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to couple it with this. Do you remember this? Okay. I made this notebook years ago, 6 years ago, and it's been on my Teachers Pay Teachers shop for 6 years. This is a notebook that I made to go along with The Good and the Beautiful space science before The Good and the Beautiful was even making student workbooks and that sort of thing. So, and The Good and the Beautiful has revamped the presentation of the information so that it includes student workbooks like this and videos and what have you. So what I did was I went to my download on Teachers Pay Teachers, downloaded it, and then printed off the pages that I wanted to use. So anyway, it's just a little workbook. All 3 of my kids are going to be using it. It is elementary, but I think it's going to be fine. I can just kind of ask my son to write incomplete sentences. So like, here's 5 things that we learn about the sun, and we're going to do craters, and we learned about Galileo and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then I also here's this little section here. I printed it on a piece of cardstock to help separate it for the kids. This is our vocabulary. And so as they go to the vocabulary word, we draw a picture, write the text, right? So for my youngest kid, who's kindergarten/1st grade, he's 6 years old, His will be a little bit different. But anyway, this is structured a little bit differently, but it's the same idea because we're talking about all three space rocks. And then at the back here, again, I put another construction paper with the planets. And then each of these pages are the same, but we'll have all of the planets, draw a picture, label the planet, where is it in relation to the sun, answer these few like factoid questions, blah, blah, blah. So by the time that we finish with all of this, then we will have a good understanding of, you know, the great universe that we live in. And then I also purchased like a mobile blah, 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 where you like paint the styrofoams and put it in this like cool mobile thing. So that'll be the culmination of this unit. And then hopefully we'll be able to go on a field trip to an observatory. In my brain, I feel like Griffith Observatory is the closest and most robust observatory. I've heard there's one in Flagstaff, but anyway, whether or not we get to go on that field trip will determine on various factors, but that's kind of the whole of our science. So that's number 2. And then a couple of other things before we go our separate ways. Okay, so one of my goals, did you watch my goals video? Oh, this part too. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. One of my goals is to do a poetry unit study for my family. And I still haven't built that out. I don't even really know what it looks like, but I am going to go to Teachers Pay Teachers / Pinterest / the internet and start kind of looking at YouTube, obviously look at YouTube videos of other people who have done it and just kind of get some examples of what it could look like. And then I'm going to build my own. But the reason is because every time I go to like a thrift store or a garage sale or what have you, and I come across these delightful old treasures, I pick them up with the intention that like, oh, like we'll just have poetry tea time and I'll read poems to my kids. Well, it's not happening. I'm not reading poetry to my kids on a regular basis, and I want to do it. So these are just a few of the poetry. Let me just show you what I have so that if you want to grab some. This is Sing a Song of Seasons. I love this book, and I wish I was super consistent at reading it with my kids, but they have a poem every day of the year, and it goes along with the seasons. So, for example, this is, who knows, probably in this April or May or something, but they have this lovely artwork and then a teeny tiny poem. This is the 22nd. Oh, it's July. It says in the corner of July, and this cute teeny tiny poem. And then the 23rd, this lovely poem. I'm sure that you could probably build out this whole beautiful morning routine off of just this book alone. Sing a Song of Seasons. It's delightful. I got it on Amazon, an easy find. Okay, I also have Austrian poems to read to the very young. Love it. Tales of Peter Rabbit and His Friends. Not a poem, but a cute little book for whatever. Okay. Fairy tales. Another like little, these are not poems. I mean, they're kind of a little bit like poetry, but just little fun books. This is Michael Hogg's favorite Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. And then Sing a Song of Popcorn, Every Child's Book of Poems. Every child, yeah. I was like, did I read that right? Anyway, so just some fun poetry books. I'm going to figure out how to put a whole unit study together of all of that good stuff. So stay tuned for that, and I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, 2 more things. Another thing that we're going to do this year as family school over the next couple of months is state reports and animal reports. So I have created these 2 brochures. They're available on my shop as well. I'll put a link in the description box below if you're interested about that. But I just whipped up this little like generic brochure, and then my kids can choose any state that they want. My goal is that by the end of the year, my kids will have done 2 state reports and 2 animal reports. This is what takes the place of our history and science study for the day. Like, we would just do all of this instead of history and our science lesson. So it's not in addition to, that would make everything really hard. But let me just give you a little bit more of a show in case you're interested in grabbing one of these yourself. So this is the gallery of state symbols. What's the state bird, state flower, state animal, state tree? They can draw a little picture of it. Natural landmarks that you can find within the state. On the map, they're just going to color where the state is. Draw a picture, like as best they can, of the state flag. I know that state flags can be intricate, so that might be difficult, and then this is just facts. So we have the capital, the state abbreviation, the state number. So when did they enter the union, the date they were established, their nickname. So like we live in Utah, we're the Beehive State, California's the Golden State, that kind of stuff. And then the state motto, which most of us don't even know what our state mottos are. So that's kind of fun. And then the back part is more of like a travel / road trip mentality. I am a road trip fan. I love traveling and seeing the world. And so that's what I've projected onto my children here. So things to do and see. If you were visiting the state of Utah, you could go and see like Zion's National Park or Temple Square in Salt Lake City. If you're in California, if my kids did California, they for sure would put Disneyland as something to do and see. I would put the Redwood Forest, that kind of thing. And then one little quick factoid, did you know, which is kind of a fun thing. So that's that. And then the animal one, all about the blank. So it could be the elephant, draw a picture of the elephant by so-and-so. And what it eats, so its diet or prey, where it lives, the habitat, climate, what countries and what kind of home it lives in, how it protects itself, so defenses, what are its predators, the life cycle, what does it look like as a baby and what does it look like as an adult. So an elephant obviously looks the same. A butterfly would be a caterpillar and then a butterfly, right? Fast facts, how large is it? So size. Covering, like what kind of skin does it have, scales, fur, feathers, blah, blah, blah. What colors is it? And then classification. And then on the back, it's just like a quick little like, what I couldn't believe this when I learned it, what I liked best about this animal, and did you know? Okay, both of these are on my Teachers Pay Teachers shop. I think they're $1. Like they're super cheap because it's just a simple little tool that you can use to help give your kids an opportunity to research something that might be fun. Okay, last but not least, one of my favorite things to include in our school, and it's been a great resource for us, is our character studies. And character healthy homeschool is a theme that I have integrated throughout my homeschool life in all of the subjects that we do, as well as just in our home relationships, blah, 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 is just this desire to have a character healthy human being, right? So this is the book that I recommend. It's called The Complete Set. No, it's called, I don't know what it's called. Character First Education, The Complete Set. Elementary Curriculum, The Complete Set. Okay. So it goes through there's 30 character qualities that it covers, and each one is going to have just a robust amount of ideas that you can use to teach that quality to your child. Now, in theory, I'm like, let's do one per month. But in real life, I do one a quarter, essentially. But it's just because I don't teach it every day. You know, it's more, I don't teach a lesson around it every day. It's more of just like, as we are living, I'm like, oh, way to show perseverance. That's really good. Or way to show whatever, right? Gratitude. I appreciate that you showed gratitude for what somebody did or whatever, right? So, it just has a bunch of stuff. It talks about I will. So these are like affirmations, reinforcements, crafts you can do, poems that you can memorize, real life stories. They connect it to an animal. Each of these have like an animal relationship and how that animal displays it. So this particular one is the musk ox. What are we doing? Dependability. And then they have like a poster example at the end. I always make this kind of example poster and then I put it up on my wall. And the kids just look at it for the whole day. So, and if you wanted to like make a little quiz, I don't do that. But anyway, it's just such a great resource. I highly recommend it. It is a little bit pricey, so a heads up on that. I did buy it on Amazon, but, well worth the price, and I love it so much. So this is the complete set. Can we just call it the complete set? I don't even know, but it's so good. And that, my friend, rounds out our family school curriculum. History, science, a few unit studies. I do have morning school, which is a part of our morning basket, or it's a cart rather. If I moved my phone here a little bit, This is right here is the top part of my morning cart. So I will put together another video. I know every video is like that, but that's what you get when you take a hiatus, is I got a lot to say. That focuses specifically on our morning school. And then I will also give you the videos of my children's grade work, 6th, 3rd, and 1st grade, and what they're doing and how we like it and all that kind of good content. So look out for those videos. But in the meantime, thanks so much for tuning into this one. We'll see you later.